Cosmic fairy tales are sweet. And over the last 10 years, every once in a while I've had these experiences where I talk about the fringes, basically, of the knowledge I was given. You know, my thing is that in the end, it doesn't really matter. It's interesting. It's like everything else. It's a nice story. I'm much more deeply involved in what it is for us to fulfill our process and to be able to fill out our process now. I think that, by understanding the nature of the cycle that we're in and the fact that we have a change coming and it's coming within 25 years, and to recognize that this is the real opportunity for transformation, that it is a very important point in the development of consciousness. We're not Aarons. We are very much humans. We are not raves. We are very much humans. And we have an obligation to continue to move through our process with grace. Everything about the mystical transformation of a human being is the moment that they comfortably reside within their aloneness. That whether that aloneness is seen as the fact that they have come to grips with their unique authority, or whether in fact it's a byproduct of a deeper spiritual reality in us. The human religiosity, the spiritual nature is all something that's part of the program. That's why I put up this particular illustration. It's all part of the program. It's ingrained in us. And we have this structural way, first line, second line, third line, fourth line, fifth line, sixth line. We have this structural way in which we see inherent developmental processes. When you're looking at the nature of human mysticism, to see that the very foundation of mysticism is wonder. It's wonder. That's the beginning of it all. Interesting article about acoustic archaeologists. Acoustic archaeologists, what they're discovering is that most of the temples that were built in the ancient world were built in places where there were very powerful natural echoes. Natural echoes. So they'd be walking along and they go, hello, and there'd be this, hello. The spirit, they didn't know about sound waves bouncing. And some places in certain positions have much deeper resonance in echoes than others. Some echoes can be very loud. On those occasions where I've told the story about my encounter with the voice, one of the funniest aspects of that is that I got to my ruina door and the light was on underneath the door and that was not possible. And I suddenly had a great deal of fear gushing through my really adrenaline rush. And I yelled at this door. I yelled, "Who's there?" Which was a joke later. But anyway, I yelled, "Who's there?" And the whole valley around me repeated it 6 or 7 times. Who's there? Who's there? Who's there? Who's there? Anyway, wonder. And if you don't know how things work, you always are standing with your jaw dropped. This is the beginning of our spirituality. If you don't have wonder, you're dead. It's the only stage before wonder. It is death. Okay. When you get to the second line theme, wonder isn't enough. You got to personalize it. Humans. What a trip they gave us, eh? I've got my 10 first lines. I love wonder. It's so beautiful. And it's so impersonal. It's me, the passenger, and I look out the window and I go, wow, that's great. Just wonder. The mechanics, the way it works. It's full of wonder for me. But the moment that you get to the second line is waiting to be called. Wonder is not the point anymore. The point is, have contact with me. You know, I want a personal contact. When you get to the third line, you get to attunement. You know, to be one with the forces. You know, to learn how to work with the forces. To influence others. You get into the upper trigram, you go to the fourth line. The mystical keynote is influence. To tell others. And we all know that fourth lines can only do that with people it knows. And you get to the fifth line and you get to calling. So you start with wonder and you end up, because remember 6 lines never part of the structure. You begin with wonder and you end up with the calling back to the wonder. You know, that's the spiritual motion in the hexagram. Beginning with wonder and ending with the calling to wonder, and the whole start of the process again. But when you look at the 6th line, you know, this is what it's really all about. The pressure to separate or not. I mentioned when I was talking to you about the nature of the rave, that when you have the mutation of the solar plex center, that there is a disconnection between the 19th gate and the 49th gate. It is not for raves to become separate. It's not their business. There will be no pressure on them to be separate. It's our pressure. And it is the end of our mystical journey. Our mystical journey begins in wonder and ends up in pure, crystal clear aloneness and the perfection of aloneness. Remember that aloneness is not about lonely. It is simply what it is. We are passenger consciousness. And we are passenger consciousness, and we are locked within a vehicle, and nothing can penetrate that place. Yes, we've seen the dream or the fairy tale of the other side, but we're not the other side. We're the end of something, a glorious species. You know, we're here in the maturity of our species development to be able to display the finest attributes of what we are. It's not about us yearning to be raves. It's not what we are. We're human. And we can be the perfection of what human is intended to be as a design potential. Its goal is that separateness. The theme is the 6th line. The theme is the role model. The theme is the example of differentiation. And it is the expression of unique authority. It's our mystical trajectory, is to get to a point, like my dear friend Frank, that we are all God. You know, to get to the point of the perfection of uniqueness, that we are absolutely different in the expression of life, that we are absolutely different in our capacity to be able to filter consciousness. And that the moment that you simply experience that as a passenger, what that means in the transformation of your life. It's so easy, it's almost trite to say that things happen. Life happens. It all happens. That we have no choice. And yet the moment you grasp that is the moment that everything that every master has ever tried to teach to anybody that would listen has ever said. See, I think that for all the suffering of humanity, that there is an extraordinary attribute within us, that we are able, despite our chemistry, through the very power of our minds, to be able to imagine and dream, that we can actually transcend the limitation of what it is to be in these forms with its limitations. See, I make the comment about the Aeron that it doesn't have to work. It doesn't have to feed itself. It doesn't have to do any of those things. Yet the moment that you're the passenger in the vehicle, it doesn't matter whether you have to do that or not. No, it doesn't make any difference. It only makes a difference if you don't have what you need. It only makes a difference if your life is nothing but resistance. I clearly know that human beings do not recognize that this ride is for free. That there's no price tag associated to incarnating. The market is created through ignorance. Just ignorance. And through ignorance it becomes something that's highly, highly pricey and very costly. It truly is a free ride. It is. It's the joke after all. See, Aerons won't find that funny. It's not the point. For us it is. Oh yeah, for us it is. It's really the point. Seriousness. Seriousness is really a plague. New Agers are the most serious people I've ever met. I've actually watched somebody almost violently defend an angel. They're very serious. I understand that it's not funny for the not so. I really do. I understand it's not funny. It's not funny. And for many years, I've done nothing but try to hammer into people how easy it is to wake up. And how hard it is to wake up. And I see that it's the seriousness that has so deeply entrapped human beings. All the fears that are attendant with the idea that this life has to be supported by you. That you have to make things happen, that you have to be responsible, that you have to do this and you have to do that. All the authorities that you listen to. And for the years where I was struggling to get human design to a point that people would recognize that I didn't dwell so much on what I knew was coming. Because you see, it's not a natural thing, despite what I tell you. It's not a natural thing for humans to wake up. It's really hard. It's not hard to imagine that you're alone. That I know. We all feel our aloneness. But to truly accept that in that aloneness is the deepest, deepest of helplessness, that's something else. You know, that's where everything changes. And that's where it stops being serious. I watch my life. I'm a good passenger. I look out the windows. And I laugh a lot. I'm mostly foolish, actually. You always get to see me as a teacher. And I do my job. I talk gibberish with my children. I mean, real gibberish. I had hoped that at this time in my process I would have made it simple enough for everybody just to be able to do it. And it's really simple now. I mean, it's never been simpler. There's never been anything like it ever. And still you watch. And you see what it is to be human. I don't want to be a rave. I don't want to be an Aaron. I love being a human being. I know now how magical it is. How magical it is to be so primitive and so sophisticated at the same time. What an extraordinary experience. And the power of this self-reflected consciousness. I mean, I'm an undefined emotional person. I really don't care about emotional awareness. I don't. Can't imagine what the hell it is. My job has been to clear the mental plane. I love the mind. Beautiful, 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 beautiful toy box. Wonderful. And I see in that the glory of what it is to be us. How unusual we are as a species. And I see that it is possible, particularly for children, to transform what it is to live out the human experience. It's the beauty of what lies in the mechanics of human design. That somebody who's living out the nature of their type and they're honoring their strategy, if that's a child, they have a transformed life in front of them. It's not paradise on earth. It's life without resistance. And life without resistance has much more joy than pain. It's not to say that there will not be pain. There are all kinds of equations in the game. If you're awake and you're a 1-3, doesn't mean you're not going to bang into something. Or it bang into you. You're just going to be awake in the experience as yourself. You know, I see that humanity has this opportunity, very strange one, to be able to show the power of consciousness in its relationship with form. You know, I'd like to see human beings wake up in droves. For them, for the uniqueness. I love difference. Nothing appeals to me more than some bizarre nook and cranny of our zoo. You know, how interesting that is. How unusual that is. I wonder what it's like. You know, it's the beauty of us. You know, this very, very special, I mean, I know the incarnation crosses. I know the work. I know what the plan. I know how all of that mechanism operates, but it operates through us. It operates through unique filters of consciousness. I mean, it's very special what it is that we're a part of. And I think it's very important that humans, that we close the door, and we close the door properly. And we will finish our run. We will recreate life in our own image. We will defy what is the rules of extinction. And hopefully, many will do that awake. And will see what it's like to neither have heaven nor hell, but to have the best of what's possible here. And to really fully be able to enjoy how incredible it is. Take a ride in one of these machines and be there awake as a passenger. I'm not going to teach any more great courses. There's enough to do with just dealing with human beings now. But it's been fun to do that. So I'm glad you were here. I imagine that your vibration will survive a long time. So that's all.